Imagine waking up one morning and being told this: your ruler is no longer just a man. He is now a god. You must worship him. You must pray to him. You must bow when his name is spoken. And if you laugh, doubt, or hesitate, you could die. This actually happened. Not in a myth, not in a movie, in real history. One Roman emperor looked at the greatest empire on earth and said, "I am a living god." And Rome had no choice but to play along. But how did this happen? How does a human being reach a point where he truly believes he is divine? Was he insane, drunk on power, or was this a calculated move to control millions? Tonight, we are stepping into the terrifying, confusing, and shocking life of Emperor Caligula. His story is not just about madness. It is about power, fear, worship, and what happens when no one is allowed to say no. Caligula was born in the year 12 AD. His real name was Gaius Julius Caesar Germanicus. He was born into power. His father, Germanicus, was one of the most loved generals in Rome. Soldiers adored him. Citizens admired him. Many believed he would one day become emperor. As a child, Caligula grew up inside military camps. The soldiers dressed him in tiny boots, called caligae. That is where his nickname came from. Caligula meant little boots. It sounded cute, innocent. No one could imagine what that child would become. But Caligula's childhood was not happy. His father died suddenly under suspicious circumstances. Many believed he was poisoned. Soon after, Caligula's mother and brothers were arrested, exiled, or killed by Emperor Tiberius. One by one, his family vanished. Caligula learned something very early in life. Power survives. Love does not. He was forced to live with Tiberius on the island of Capri, a place filled with fear, spies, and silence. There, Caligula learned how to hide his thoughts, smile when necessary, and survive in a world where one wrong word could mean death. When Tiberius finally died in 37 AD, Rome breathed a sigh of relief. Caligula, only 24 years old, became emperor. At first, Rome loved him. He freed prisoners. He ended cruel trials. He gave money to the people. He honored his family's memory. Crowds cheered. Coins were minted with his face. People said Rome had been saved, but something changed. Only a few months into his rule, Caligula became seriously ill. No one knows exactly what happened. Some say it was poisoning. Others say it was a fever that attacked his brain. When he recovered, he was not the same. The smiling young emperor vanished. In his place stood a ruler who demanded absolute obedience. Caligula began to test the limits of power. He humiliated senators, forcing them to run beside his chariot like slaves. He mocked Rome's most powerful men in public. He executed people for reasons so small they barely made sense. But this was only the beginning. Soon, Caligula began to speak differently. He no longer talked like a ruler. He talked like something more. He demanded statues of himself be placed in temples. He ordered priests to worship him. He dressed as gods like Jupiter, Apollo, and Hercules, gold beards, lightning bolts, divine robes. He didn't just want respect. He wanted worship. In ancient Rome, emperors were often honored after death. Some were declared gods once they were gone. But Caligula wanted something no one had dared before. He wanted to be a god while still breathing. He ordered people to call him Lord and God. He demanded sacrifices be made in his name. He built a bridge of ships across the sea just to prove he could defy nature itself. And Rome obeyed, not because they believed, but because they were afraid. Caligula blurred the line between theater and terror. One day he would joke and laugh. The next, someone would disappear forever. He once announced that he wished the Roman people had only one neck, so he could cut it off in a single strike. Was this madness, or was it power with no limits? Perhaps the most shocking moment came when Caligula ordered a statue of himself to be placed inside the Jewish temple in Jerusalem. This was unthinkable. The Jewish people worshipped only one God. Placing a human statue inside their holiest site was an act of deep insult and sacrilege. It would spark rebellion. Roman governors begged him to reconsider. Friends pleaded. Officials delayed, hoping he would forget. Caligula did not forget. He insisted. Because gods do not compromise, Only his sudden death stopped the order from being carried out. But long before that, Caligula had already crossed another terrifying line. He declared that his horse, Incitatus, was worthy of being a consul, one of Rome's highest political offices. Was it a joke? Was it insanity? Or was it his way of telling the Senate they were no better than animals? No one dared ask. Caligula's palace became a place of fear. Executions were turned into entertainment. People were killed slowly, just to watch them suffer. He forced parents to watch their children die. He laughed during the screams. And still he demanded worship. The more people feared him, the more divine he believed himself to be. But here is the question history still asks. Did Caligula truly believe he was a god? Or did he understand something terrifying about human psychology? When people believe your power is supernatural, they stop resisting. When a ruler becomes divine, rebellion becomes blasphemy. Caligula may have been cruel. He may have been unstable. But he also understood fear. However, fear does not last forever. After 4 years of terror, the people closest to him began to crack. The Praetorian Guard, his personal soldiers, whispered in secret. Senators plotted quietly. They knew that as long as Caligula lived, Rome would bleed. In the year 41 AD, during a palace event, Caligula walked through a narrow hallway. Suddenly knives flashed. The god screamed. The emperor fell. Caligula was stabbed over 30 times. His wife and young daughter were killed soon after. Just like that, the living god was gone. Rome did not mourn. Statues were destroyed. His name was erased from records. People pretended he never existed. But history remembers. Caligula's story is more than just the tale of a mad emperor. It is a warning. It shows what happens when power has no limits. When fear replaces law. When worship is forced, not earned. So here is the real mystery. Was Caligula insane? Or was he simply a mirror showing Rome what absolute power truly looks like? And if someone like him rose today, would we recognize the danger in time? Tell me what you think. Was Caligula a god, a monster, or a lesson humanity keeps forgetting?